Hello, everybody. Welcome to Premier League predictions with myself, Benjamin Bloom, and the wonderful Mikey Pentti-Smith. And I think now in the Premier League, the most interesting thing is the predictions, given the league seems all stitched up at either end. And speaking of stitched up, I'm stitched up again. I lost 6-8. I thought I did all right, Mikey, to get 6. I got Ipswich Bob on, which is either bad or irrelevant news. Mikey, you got Brighton 2, Fulham 1. And I was thinking, if you were a Premier League fixture, you as a person, you would be Brighton versus Fulham, wouldn't you? And I think you should take that as a compliment, mate. You got Wolves 1, Everton 1, which is also bad news and irrelevant news. So you won that 8-6, Mikey. I've given up on the weekly because you're 13-7 up now. It's over, isn't it? Let's be frank about it. But 1-4-1, 1-2-9 in the aggregate, I'll take. How are you doing, mate? I'm trying to soften you up with some banter.
Yes, I'm doing okay considering I've just been compared to Brighton v Fulham.
Hey, it's classy clubs, kind of hipstery. I'd be like Aston Villa or something, wouldn't I?
Grand old club Aston Villa.
Old and classic, yeah.
And Champions League quarter-finalists as well.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, it's not by no means an insult, Brighton versus Fulham. If you were a Premier League fixture, let us know in the comments. What fixture would you be? We try and pull out what did we have in the League One this week? We had Wigan and someone else, but Wigan Charlton maybe had been in the Premier League. You might be Wigan Charlton, but Mikey is very, very much Brighton Fulham. Get involved in the comments with the banter and the Premier League fixtures attributed to your personality, and hopefully with your Premier League predictions, because that's the whole point of why we are here today. Give yourself 1 point for a correct outcome, home away or draw. 3 points for a correct scoreline. Mikey had 2 bob-ons last week. Well played. A bonus point will be awarded to anybody who gets a bob-on with 5 or more goals. Only 8 fixtures, which is why I've been allowed my comedic rambling intro there, Mikey. And you are up first with the Slaven Bilic derby. It is Everton versus West Ham.
Yes, and of course it's now the David Moyes derby as well, isn't it? 1 defeat in 9 for Moyes since his return to Everton, but they've had 4 draws in their last 5. So I think they're starting to plateau a little bit, and I think some Everton fans who maybe weren't overjoyed that he was returning, and they are in the minority, are maybe saying, "Yeah, we're stuck with boring football here." But I think mostly they'll just be grateful that he's easily guided them to survival and they can just try and build between now and the end of the season. Alcaraz has brought a bit of a spark for Everton. He's been a shining light when he's been on the pitch. He's possibly in line for a start in this one. It was a poor performance from them really at Wolves, and I know Decore gave the ball away quite a lot. Maybe Alcaraz comes in the attacking midfield position. West Ham, possibly the most boring team to watch in the Premier League at the moment. Ben, I'm glad you didn't compare me to West Ham at the start of the show. Just created very little against Newcastle. They always seem to play. They all seem to be the last game of the match week, and it always seems to be a bit turgid. But this time they're playing Saturday at 3:00. But I'm not backing them to score after watching them against Newcastle. I'm going Everton 1, West Ham 0.
I'm trying to think now. You'd have to involve Hodgson era Crystal Palace in this boring matchup. I was just going to insult all accountants as well. Like the accountancy personality matchup. What did you say? 1-0 Everton?
1-0 Everton.
I think I'm going to double you up, Mikey. I just trust Everton more than I trust West Ham, and with home advantage as well. I take your point about that they're a little bit draw happy, but West Ham, I mean, maybe I should go for West Ham on the basis they normally just completely catch you and me out with some random win somewhere along the line. But who are their last 2 wins come against? Leicester, Arsenal away. There you go. That's one of them. I am going to double you up, mate. I like the 1-0 actually. So I will. Yeah, it's got to be low margin, isn't it? No, they're not going to win by 2. I've changed my mind and I'm going to go 1-1, which would be a boring scoreline for what Mikey, not me, Mikey is categorizing a boring matchup between Everton and West Ham. Ipswich versus Nottingham Forest. Is Ipswich going to be boringly predictable and they're not going to beat Nottingham Forest? Oh, Mikey. Well, I've been hyper realistic on the Ipswich ones. So what I'm thinking I might do today is just predict an Ipswich win, just because it's funny. Because I genuinely
because you want it to happen. You
I
want to
want it to
believe that it's going
happen.
to happen.
Well, I'll ask you in a second. I just can't see a world where Ipswich beat Nottingham Forest at the moment. I just can't. I'm sorry, and that makes me sad to say that, because I'd like to think they had a chance. It's a fair play to Forest that they're in that position now. I just think with people like Elanga and Hudson-Odoi, Wood and Gibbs-White, that they're probably going to score 2 goals in this game, which is problematic for Ipswich. So although I think Ipswich can score, I was about to do an Ipswich win, wasn't I? But I've just described a 2-1 Nottingham Forest win. Right. So I think Forest are going to win 2-1, but I'm going to flip it on its head for the sake of randomness and my heart and my soul, and predict a 2-1 Ipswich win. Hoping that what I think is going to happen, the opposites happen. Have I covered all my bases there, Mike?
Yes, Ben, because now whatever happens, you were right, weren't you? Unless it's a really
Which is the
entertaining
real
draw.
quiz.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm going for a narrow Forest win, matching the result in the reverse fixture. It was 1-0 at the City ground on that day. I just think they're going to suit playing us at Portman Road more than they suit playing us at the City ground, because we're going to attack them a little bit more. We have to win, so we're going to commit bodies up the pitch, and those attacking players that you mentioned are going to love playing in the big wide open spaces at Portman Road, aren't they? Yeah, I don't like doing this, but once again, I'm backing against Ipswich. I mean, early on in the season, I was Ipswich happy, wasn't I? And it didn't really work for me. And yeah, unfortunately, here I am again going for Ipswich to lose 1-0.
Manchester City versus Brighton.
Yeah, and Man City, there's a weird little pattern going on there. Their last 3 league wins have been followed by a defeat. So that should mean that they win here, because they lost last week against Nottingham Forest, if we're just following that linear pattern. For City, it's a case of, make sure you get in the top 4, but let's also try and integrate these new players and get James McAtee on the pitch a bit more, and see if he's got enough to step up and be a proper Man City player in the next few seasons. Brighton only 1 point behind Man City, a real upturn in fortunes for them in recent weeks. Since that bad defeat at Forest, I think that seemed to be a bit of a turning point for Fabian Hertzler. João Pedro, Jorginho Rutter, and Karo Mitoma are absolutely cooking, as the kids say. So they're going to cause City some problems in this one. I've gone for 2-1-0, so I'm going to go for a slightly more interesting scoreline. I'm going to go for Manchester City to win this one 3-2.
Yeah, I thought we were going to get an unlikely scribble there, because I've gone for 4-2 in terms of Man City in this one. Yeah, Brighton 4 wins on the trot since losing 7-0. And I have to say, they've not all been soft, because they've beaten Fulham and Bournemouth, who are good sides in that kind of a lot of good mid-table sides. I think Pep Guardiola was pointing that out himself recently. I just think Man City, if they turn it on against a team that will actually go there and play, could score a load of goals. So I'll go for a 6-goal scoreline. I'll go 4-2. Mikey's gone 3-2, which moves us on to Southampton versus Wolves, where I'm sure under duress, we're both going to go for away wins here, which this is the annoying thing being an Ipswich fan this weekend, is it kind of almost doesn't matter what Ipswich do, does it? Because you're expecting Wolves are going to go to Southampton and get the win. I know it's only 1 point in 2 for Wolves, but they've got this one circled, and obviously they've still got the game against Ipswich as well. Am I going to give Southampton a goal, Mikey? I don't think I am. I'm going to go Southampton 0, Wolves 1.
Okay, yeah, I'm also going for a narrow Wolves win. I'm going 2-1. Fair play to Southampton. I sort of talked about them going to Liverpool, and I said fair play to the Southampton fans going up there, but they gave it a really good go. And if refereeing decisions went in a slightly different way, who knows what would have happened? Because Darwin Núñez potentially should have been sent off, and then who pops up with the equaliser and then wins a penalty for Liverpool? So yeah, signs of life life in that game, at least for Southampton, but they need to follow it up with an uplifting home performance here. But yeah, Wolves obviously still without Mateus Cunha, but they've got enough to win this game.
Bournemouth versus Brentford.
Yeah, the two smallest clubs traditionally in the Premier League, and they've entertained. This isn't going to be another slag here, Ben. They've entertained us massively this season, and I'll hold my hands up and say I'm jealous of the teams that, at least the teams that Bournemouth and Brentford fans get to watch.
Where are
But
you
that being
going with
said,
this?
Bournemouth only one win in 5 for them. They played some fantastic football at Spurs. That was a game that looked like it really suited them, but Spurs managed to get themselves back into the game and scored a late penalty. Brentford weirdly better on the road at the moment. 4 away wins in a row. Just so bizarre because early on in the season they just couldn't buy an away win. They did have trickier fixtures away from home, I think, in the early part of the season than they do now.
Right.
But if we're talking about tricky away fixtures, this is definitely one of them. And I'm gonna go for Bournemouth to win this one. I'm going 3-1 to the Cherries.
Yeah, I've got 2-1 to Bournemouth, Mikey. So similar thoughts to you. I think if you look at a couple of those Brentford away wins, mate, they won at Leicester and at West Ham. And like you say, Bournemouth are just a different kettle of fish, isn't it? Why is it, though? You know, when you said Bournemouth will have enjoyed playing at Spurs, when the camera position is far away from the pitch, you just assume the pitch is bigger.
Yeah.
When it's just the camera, it's like that Father Ted sketch about the cow. How is it bigger when it's? I can't remember the exact wording of it, but yeah, I was thinking wide open spaces and playing at fun Spurs. But yeah, so I agree with all your logic on that. I just think it might be a little bit closer than you've got it. I think Brentford are a tough nut to crack, aren't they? But I'll go for a Bournemouth win 2-1. Arsenal versus Chelsea. You worry a little bit, Mikey, about Arsenal's motivation now because it's like, well, they do well to not finish in the top 4, but they can't really win the title, and they've, had a couple of horrible results. Chelsea have gone back to back, haven't they? But they've played Leicester and Southampton. So I think with that being said, and Arsenal bounce back, Arsenal have been brilliant in the Champions League, haven't they? If not the Premier League. I think I've got back a home win here, mate. I'll go 2-0 Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm also going for an Arsenal win. I'm going 2-1. We're agreeing quite a lot in this one, aren't we?
Problematic.
Both of we're filming this before Chelsea's Europa Conference game against Copenhagen. Right. So we don't know if they've got through, but I think they will have done. So both of these teams really have half an eye on winning something in Europe this year. But no, I think Arsenal, there's enough players that are trying to prove a point at the moment and nail down a starting place that will mean that they'll still be ultra competitive in the league between now and the end of the season, even though they don't have a huge amount to play for. But especially as they're playing Real Madrid in the next round, aren't they? So that's a game that's certainly going to add a bit of focus and intensity for them. So yeah, I'm seeing an Arsenal 2-1 win.
Fulham Spurs, the Martin Yell derby.
Martin Yell, yeah, I've got Dimitar Berbatov, Ben. We've probably done these ones already, haven't we?
Exact same conversation, probably. Yeah, you always win me over with a Berbatov mention, won't you?
Yeah. Let's just talk about Berbatov for a little while, shall we?
Clint Dempsey.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, there's a few, isn't there? Danny Murphy. Fulham a little bit unlucky last week to lose in the Mikey Pentti-Smith fixture that is his Brighton against Fulham. They've lost.
You've just essentially compared yourself to Berbatov in my head by naming the game.
I'll take that. So Fulham, just trying to get back on track here. Fulham have lost 4 from their last 8, having lost 4 of the 20 before that. So they're starting to lose a few more games. I know they were drawing quite a few, but yeah, lost a little bit of momentum in recent weeks. But definitely got the threats at the attacking end to hurt a Tottenham side who are playing tonight. Tottenham, I don't think, have a good record after they've played in Europe. And it's going to be a difficult game for them tonight as well against RZ Alkmaar. And they also, Ben, no, they're at home. But again, yeah, not an easy one. They also have a terrible record going into international breaks. It's just bad news and irrelevant news over and over again for Tottenham at the moment, isn't it? But
Spursy news.
yeah, how many times have I said this season? This could be the final week of Ange Postecoglou at Tottenham if they get knocked out of the Europa League potentially, and then they play at Fulham and get beaten. I'm going for Fulham 2, Tottenham 0.
Are they? So they're behind as well in the tie, are they, Spurs?
Yes, 1-0.
Oh, it could really be a swan song, isn't it? You've basically just predicted Postecoglou to get the sack then, haven't you? So you've gone 2-0. I was going to go for a Desmond. It feels very entertaining, bourgeois, lots of goals, London fare, doesn't it? So yeah, I'll go with some slightly better news for Ange, and I'll go for a Desmond. Which brings us to Leicester Man United, which did get brought up last week as a fixture that's happened a lot this season because of the EFL Cup game and this weird thing of Ruud van Nistelrooy being kind of the manager in this fixture for both teams. Can Leicester get something against Man United? Be quite funny, wouldn't it? They're not going to, are they? Let's go both teams to score an away win. I'm going to go 3-1 away win Man United.
Okay, yeah, I had 3-1 written down as well, so that's a scribble for me. I'm going to go 1-1 then. I'm going to switch it. I'm going to go for a draw here. As we know, Leicester have played Manchester United 3 times, twice under Van Nistelrooy, and on those occasions, Manchester United were comfortable. They were not comfortable in the FA Cup against Leicester under Ruben Amorim a few weeks ago. And it was that offside goal from Harry Maguire. So, yeah, Leicester owe Manchester United one a little bit. And, yeah, Manchester United were a little bit better against Arsenal, but that's not to say that they'll be good again this weekend. So, yeah, I can see 1-1, even though I fancied Manchester United for this one, really.
Nice. Rogue one to finish. Get involved and feel free to go rogue on all 8 because, we could get a low score this week, Mikey. I'm a bit concerned with those 2 fixtures chalked off that I'm going to get an embarrassing total this week. So see if you can do better in the comments. The fixtures will be down there in the description. Copy and paste that and get your own predictions and give yourself 1 point for a correct outcome. Give yourself 3 points for a correct scoreline. Mikey and I have both gone for 1 bonus point, which you'll get if your correct scoreline comes in. That's 5 or more goals. And we've both gone for that on Manchester City versus Brighton. You any games this weekend, Mikey?
No. Well, I am playing in the Aldershot and Camberley Sunday Division 6. Winner, almost a winner takes all to win the league. AFC Raiders against the MT Eagles. I can't imagine the attendance will be much higher than about 15. But yeah, that's my football action for this weekend.
I was going to ask for a prediction for it, but you could tell me anything, and I literally probably couldn't look it up to find the result to see if you were lying to me or not.
Well, the last time we played them, we won 4-3.
Oh, that'd be worth a bonus point.
Yeah, I think we averaged to score 4 goals a game and concede about 2 goals a game. So yeah, I'll go for 4-2. I hope there's no MT Eagles watching this.
Okay, there you go. We'll find out. We always find out on the internet. Someone's watching, aren't they, Mikey? And well, good luck in your game, and we will find out. I'm almost given how the Premier League is at the moment. That's the result I'm most excited to hear about. And I said next week, it won't be next week, but Mikey and I are going to be really organised, and we'll get nicely ahead, and we'll get that midweek round. We're coming back on. Is it TNT or Amazon or something that midweek?
No, but it's like an old-fashioned midweek, Ben, where there are some games on telly, but not all.
Okay. We'll try and get ahead and get that done, so we get both rounds covered in that week coming back. But yeah, get involved in the meantime in the comments, and we will see you in a couple of weeks.